Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and my 7 books of Christmas. If you haven't been here before, my name is Debbie and I read a lot of books, and today's book is called My Sister is Missing and it's by Carissa and Lynch. So this is the front cover of the book. So let's just get straight in there with that blurb, shall we? A 20-year-old local mystery that has never been solved. A bone-chilling VHS tape depicting a horrific crime. Neighbours with something to hide, and a sister who is missing. Emily has to find out the truth, but is her sister Madeline the victim or the one to blame? There's some comparisons to Gillian Flynn's Sharp Objects, which I definitely see. The book, not the series, I'll say that. I really did enjoy this book. When I've seen like the reviews about it, it's very mixed. It's in psychological fiction and crime and thriller. So there's Emily and Madeline, those are the sisters, and they've been estranged for quite a long time. Both their parents have passed away. Madeline is living in the childhood home, basically, and Madeline calls Emily and says that she wants to talk to her. So Emily goes up to the house. She's introduced to her niece and nephew, who she's never met before, and instantly clicks with them, and she decides that she does want to be involved in her niece and nephew's lives. But yeah, she basically finds out on arrival that Madeline's husband has run off with another woman, but that isn't the complete news that Madeline wants to talk to Emily about. But before Madeline has the chance to tell Emily what she wants to tell her, she goes missing. I think this is where some of the frustration kind of starts, because Madeline is missing for about 2-3 days before Emily decides to call the police, and in that position you're just there thinking, why didn't you contact the police sooner? But I think it's also that thing that Emily really doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know her well enough to be able to figure out if this is normal behaviour for her sister. At first she thinks she's gone shopping, then it gets to a point where she's just like, I don't know what to do, and she just goes into panic mode. And so yeah, about 2 or 3 days later she finally calls the police, and that's when other things start to kick off, because the person who arrives at the door when she calls the police is somebody who she knew at school. So now all these kind of old memories come to the surface, and basically she holds a grudge against this guy. Straight away you've gone on to untrustworthiness, because she doesn't trust the guy who's investigating her sister's disappearance. So that already starts you off on a bit of rocky territory. As it also mentions, like, there's neighbours with something to hide, so she's got an interesting relationship with the next door neighbour while she's looking after the kids. There comes a point when the ex-husband turns up and says, why didn't you call me? I'm taking the kids. And Emily's at a point where she's just like, I don't even know if I can trust this man. Obviously she didn't know her sister, she doesn't know her sister's husband, and all she has to go on is the news that he's just run away with his secretary. And so she's in a place of just like, what if this man has something to do with my sister's disappearance? And so you start off with just nearly everybody under the sun is a suspect in this situation. There were points when I didn't even trust Emily while I was reading. I was there thinking, is she an untrustworthy narrator here? Is there something that she's not telling us? Which it does come out that she is an untrustworthy narrator. You know, you can't rely on everything she says, which I think is always a great way to kind of start off something like in psychological stuff, when you can't trust the narrator, because one of my favourite books relies on an unreliable narrator, and it's We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lionel Shriver. When I was reading that book, I hated the mother. I hated her all the way through. And I was just like, why do I not like this woman? Why do I not trust her as far as I could throw her? And as I continued reading that book, it just more and more stuff came out which I hated her. And by the time I got to the end, it was just like, I feel like that was the point. And that's what made it such a good book for me. And I think that's where this book lies as well. It gets to the point when you realise that no, you can't trust your narrator, and it kind of reminds you of that. I mean, you are reading something from the point of view of a single person. But yeah, so it also talks about the 20-year-old mystery that's never been solved. Basically, there was a girl who, when Maddie and Emily were at school, who disappeared. She went missing. Nobody knows what happened to her. And it talks about a VHS tape which depicts a horrific crime. Basically, Emily finds this tape in the house when she's searching the house trying to see if she can figure out what happened to her sister. She's looking for evidence in the house that might give her an idea of whether her sister has run away, whether she was depressed, whether maybe she's been kidnapped, whether, you know, she's trying to kind of understand her sister, and she thinks the start of that is by searching the house and seeing if she can get to know her sister through her belongings. And she ends up finding a tape in the attic, I think it is. But yeah, she finds this tape and it takes her a very long time to watch it. But when she does watch it, she realises that her sister and her sister's friends may have been involved in the disappearance of the girl who went missing 20 years ago. So it kind of brings those different threads together when she finds the tape. And Emily, as most main characters in murder mysteries do, she starts investigating by herself. So, you know, she's looking at the husband. She doesn't trust her sister's husband. She definitely doesn't trust the woman that the husband has run away with. There's a lot of question marks over the next door neighbour, and also a little bit of a question mark over the police officer who has turned up to help, who Emily knew at school. It's one of those things where it's just red herrings left, right and centre as you're trying to figure out who you can trust. And I think the point of a book like this is that you literally can't trust anybody. It's a case that it's a small town where there are lots of secrets, but at the same time a lot of people, they kind of know each other's secrets and keep secrets for each other. And so, as you can tell, this was a very twisty-turny thriller book. A twisty-turny thriller, and it really does keep twisting on you until right at the end. One of the main parts of the story is the fact that Emily was injured on the day that the girl went missing 20 years ago. And so she has absolutely no memory of what happened the day the girl went missing. And so that also plants a seed in your mind of, I can't trust this narrator because even she doesn't trust herself. If that makes sense. But yeah, for somebody who likes stuff that's quite fast paced, you'll enjoy this book. I feel like it has enough to keep you going. The chapters, I'd say they're not short, but they're not long. They're kind of like the perfect length to get you through. It's 224 pages, crime and thriller psychological fiction, and its target audience is adult. Bullying is a very central theme to the book, so there is talks about suicide and mental health, just putting that warning up there for you. It was a really, really good thriller from my point of view. I definitely did not guess the ending on this one. You know, the red herrings got to me quite a lot, and there were points when I just thought, surely it's got to be this person, and then right at the end, the twist came out again, and it was just like, I'd say it's a satisfying ending, but not. It does leave some questions at the end, so it's an ending where you kind of know what's happened, but at the same time, you feel like there could be more information. Does that sound really weird? Because obviously with the twisty-turny things, and when you get the final kind of reveal about what's happened, there are a couple of question marks over what happens at the end. And I think there's a bit of kind of coming to your own conclusions about it. It just goes back to that thing of you can't trust one person's point of view because there's so many sides to the story. It would be interesting if Carissa and Lynch wrote this book from somebody else's point of view. Same story, just a different character's point of view. I think that would be really interesting to read. To be honest, seeing it from Madeline's point of view, the sister that goes missing, would be really, really interesting, I think. I should probably shut up before I start talking even more and spoiling things. But yeah, so it's My Sister is Missing by Carissa and Lynch. Very good for people who like mysteries and thrillers. as again, you know, it's fast paced, it keeps you on your toes, so if people like things that are a bit more long-winded, or, you know, they need time to catch up, probably not as much. But yeah, for people who like things to go fairly quickly, I mean, I was having this conversation with my dad this morning, I'm not a one Mississippi person, I like to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes it's necessary to go 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, you know, sometimes you just need that extra bit of to kind of keep you going. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. It was a good mystery. The tagline on the front of the book is, "My sister had a secret, then she disappeared." The fact is, it's not just about Madeline's secret, because as it comes out, you realise there are a lot of secrets being held on to. Hey, Harry. Got the pussycat. Mwah. I really, really did enjoy this book. It just, as somebody who likes a good mystery, yeah, it was right up my alley. So thank you so much for watching. That was My Sister Is Missing by Carissa and Lynch. I'll pop a link to where you can find it in the description below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already. I'll be a little reminder somewhere on the screen, but obviously you can click the button underneath the video to subscribe, and if you click those bell notifications you can know exactly when I upload. But yeah, so thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next one. Mwah! It's one of those things where you don't know who to trust. You know you can't trust an